Good morning, everyone. Sorry I missed last night. Time got away from me, but I'm going to do one this morning and then one tonight. So let's dive in. And the question of the day is, or the morning is, how do you keep track of your farmers market sales? And that is from Miles Tamboli. I hope I got that last name correct. Well, Miles, it starts with tracking your product, what you're sending to the market too. So I'm going to jump over here real quick and kind of show you how we did it. And we, for years, just used a paper system, and then the last couple of years, we switched over to using Sheets, Google Sheets, and also we have an iPad. We had an iPad down in the wash station so that we could enter in, harvest lists and stuff up in the office. And here's the list we use for harvest lists. So you get that to load different things and the different field that would be in. We were running with multiple fields, so it was nice to be able to know exactly where things were coming from. And then you can see the different farmers markets down here at the bottom that we were attending, and stuff was coming back and forth. We could color code as well too, so things like roots would get color coded so that we knew not to have to weigh them at the farmers markets when we were counting. And then bunched stuff, obviously different colors. So at the farmers market, they could just quickly scroll down through and know that they only had to count at the end of the market the yellow crops. So another thing we would do with this, because eventually this would get that's a ton of crops, we could go ahead and just hide certain crops. You can see here, right click, and then we could just go ahead and hide those rows. So that way, during the season, we could keep every single item that we had at farmers markets on the same sheet. And so at the end of the year, we could do tracking and that sort of thing. But this allowed us to only, at the farmers market, have to look at the crops that actually were at market. So, again, this is just very simple. It comes with what's sent to a market and then what was left over. And then we could easily know exactly what sold. So this market right here, head lettuce, then 20, took home 6. That means that, we sold 14. So that's really simple. And why is that important? Well, we really always want to have about 10% of greens left over at the end of the market. That's so our table doesn't look empty. But we don't want to send too much product to market, because if you send too much product to market, it's basically sending expensive compost, and you're just trucking around a lot of product that you don't need to. So we kept very specific records, also looked at, seasonal spikes and holiday spikes, and knew all that information. So now we've got our product to market. Now let's talk about how to track the sales coming in from market. So I know several people have moved over to online systems for that. Let's say like Shopify or like a shopping cart system at the farmers market like Revel. And that is a great system. And I think that's much superior to just like a spreadsheet. And the reason for that is that it instantly tallies everything. You can tell by the hour, that kind of thing. When spikes will be at your farmer's market, the staff better for those times that you're selling more product. But for us, sales were just actually tallied up. So we'd bring home the money bag. We'd actually carry usually 3 money bags, one for change, and then one, we always had a backup change money bag in the truck, and that was usually just under the seat and never left the truck. It was like about $150 to $200 and just change. And so that way, if God forbid someone forgot the market bag, that there was always that extra change there and for them to be able to use. So we also then would have a third market bag, which would be just for checks, just to keep them all separate. And our farmers market did basically credit cards, and so they gave everyone wooden tokens. And so those wooden tokens were relatively large, and so it was nice to have an extra bag to stick those in. Some markets we get a couple $100 worth of those. So again, we've tracking the sales of the farmers market. So at the end of the market, those money bags would come home, and then the next day someone would actually sit and count that money. And I'll kind of show you the sheet we actually made up. Hope you can see that okay. And basically what we would do is we would first pull out the change. So we always had about $250 to $300 in change that was being sent to the farmers market. And so you can see that would be like, okay, so you go pull out 10 tens, 25s, 51s, 80 quarters. And that was the change for that market. So that would come out of the total, basically, gob of money. And then we would start counting the other money. And so then we just put out a number of tens, of hundreds, a number of 50s, and then write the total amount of cash that we represented here. And then this column right here, so let's say we had 100, 350s, 2020s, 50 tens, and then you just add that money here. So you got 100, 150, 400, 500, all the way down. We'd add the checks up here in another column right there, and then we put the total right there. So this was just kind of like a pre-count sheet, just made sure we're on the same page. At the beginning, we used to actually do a double count. One person would count, and then the next person would count, just to make sure we got it accurate. And then that information, the total from that market, would be entered into our QuickBooks. And that's we use QuickBooks to manage our farm system. Now, QuickBooks is very robust. The online or the desktop version work very well. For some of my smaller businesses now, we actually use something called Wave Apps, and it's just an online accounting system. It's free. I'm really happy with it. It allows you to do receipts and transactions and all that stuff. Not robust like QuickBooks, and obviously at the end of the year, a little bit different for doing taxes and that sort of thing, exporting a version for your tax accountant, but still very robust and very, it really works. And I know other people that use Quicken. So the biggest thing I'll say is just have a system out there. Have a system and go ahead and use it, and that's what makes the most sense. So again, hope this helps, Miles, and I will post that Wave apps below, a link to that, so you can check that out. And go ahead, like, share, subscribe to our channel, and we'll keep this great content coming your way. All right, have a great morning.